What's up guys, welcome back to another video about Fouseytube. In the part 1 of this series, we talked about how Fouseytube went from being one of YouTube's biggest stars, known for his hilarious pranks and comedy sketches, to a creator who faced massive controversies and personal struggles. If you haven't seen it yet, go check out the first to understand the full story. This is part 2 of the Fouseytube series, and we're going to continue off from where we left in the previous video. From feuds with other creators to one of the most chaotic comeback events in history, we are talking about the infamous Love Arise, Hate Dies night as it all led to his fall from the spotlight. But what happened after that? Well, that's what we are going to see in this video. So after years of ups and downs, Fouseytube returned to the spotlight once again, but his mental health and erratic behavior became the central focus of his story, proving just how much he struggles with the pressure of being a content creator. In 2023, Fouseytube found a new platform to share his life, Kick, the streaming service known for its anything goes environment. He launched himself into IRL streaming where he'd broadcast his daily activity live for his audience. But it didn't take long for things to unravel in these streams. Yusuf often displayed erratic behavior, running into traffic, lashing out at his team, or even physically hitting himself out of frustration. One incident that stood out was when he forgot a glove at home and instead of brushing it off, punched himself on camera. The tipping point came during one of his streams in a hotel room. Yusuf called the police on himself, and when officers arrived, the situation escalated into chaos. He began yelling at the officers, his emotions spiraling completely out of control. Ultimately, Yusuf was arrested, marking yet another public mental breakdown. After the arrest, he disappeared from the public eye, taking a long break from creating content. When he did re-emerge, it was during a stream hosted by Aiden Ross. Sporting a drastically different look, fans joked he resembled James Harden. Fousey seemed calm and collected as Aiden generously handed him $100,000, but while it was a nice gesture, this wasn't Fousey's official return. In 2023, Yusuf decided to stage his big comeback with an ambitious project. A 24/7 streaming marathon for 30 days straight. Cameras would be rolling non-stop, capturing every moment of his life. For most people, this would be a challenge, but for someone like Fousey, who had a history of mental health struggles, it was a recipe for disaster. And a disaster came quickly. Within just 48 hours of starting the marathon, things began to spiral. What should have been a creative endeavor turned into a chaotic spectacle, culminating in a heated argument with one of his employees. It all started when a camera wasn't charged overnight, something Fousey had specifically asked one of his employees to handle. The next morning, when he realized the camera's battery was still at 15%, his frustration quickly turned into outright disrespect. He berated his employee, calling him names, insulting his intelligence, and even questioning his worth. At one point, Fousey claimed he was an A-list celebrity and dismissed the employee as someone who could only hang out with C-lister friends. It was an over-the-top reaction. Fousey was acting as though he were Beyonce or Drake, when in reality he was simply a Kick streamer. The situation escalated further when Fousey, in his anger, physically hit the employee. For many viewers, this moment crossed a major line. It's one thing to be upset about work not being done, but lashing out physically at an employee is unacceptable in any context. This incident led to Yusuf being banned from Kick. The ban was a significant blow, and Fousey found himself at a crossroads once again. The 30-day marathon meant to mark his triumphant return ended in disaster after just 2 days. His erratic behavior and emotional outbursts has alienated his audience and his team, leaving him with yet another public failure to his name. As if the chaos of his 24/7 streaming marathon was enough, things only got worse for Fouseytube when it came to managing his team. Time and time again, his frustration with those working for him boiled over in ways that shocked viewers and left his reputation in even worse shape. Unfortunately, this wasn't the first time Fousey's behavior turned hostile. In another incident caught on camera, Fousey slapped a camera out of his cameraman's hand after the cameraman got too close to him during a live stream. Instead of calmly asking him to back up, Fousey lashed out, yelling and calling the man's name. This moment was yet another example of Fousey's inability to manage his emotions. Slapping the camera wasn't just unprofessional, it was unnecessary. A simple, "Hey, can you give me some space?" could have diffused the situation. But for Fousey, small conflicts always seemed to explode into dramatic confrontations. Then came the infamous album leak. Yes, Fouseytube had been working on a music album, and during a private conversation with his team, one of his cameramen accidentally left a microphone on. This led to part of Fousey's upcoming music project being leaked during the live stream. When Fousey realized what had happened, he completely lost it. He accused the cameraman of betraying him and even threatened to punch him in the face. The situation left viewers baffled. While leaking a song feature wasn't ideal, it wasn't the catastrophic event Fousey made it out to be. And considering the artist in question was Mexican OT, a name not widely recognized, many questioned why Fousey was so enraged. To most, it didn't seem worth the dramatic outburst. These incidents all pointed to a larger issue: Fousey's approach to hiring and managing his team. He often relied on untrained individuals, randoms off the street, to help with his production, yet he expected them to perform at the level of seasoned professionals. When mistakes inevitably happened, Fousey would lash out, creating a hostile work environment for everyone involved. It became clear that his inability to manage his emotions wasn't just hurting his reputation, it was also driving away the very people who were supposed to support him. Time and time again, Fousey's erratic behavior has alienated his team and viewers alike. While frustration is natural in a high-pressure situation, his extreme reactions have only deepened the cracks in his already unstable career. Moving forward, after the chaos of his 24/7 stream marathon and his public fallout with his team, it seemed like things couldn't get any worse. But Fousey's behavior continued to spiral, and the cycle of erratic actions followed by regret played out once again, leaving fans wondering if it's time for him to step away from the spotlight for good. In one particularly shocking moment, Fousey turned his frustration toward the very people who supported him, his fans. During a livestream, he lashed out, shouting and calling them dumbasses. It was a bizarre outburst that left many viewers stunned. For someone like Fousey, who had lost so much of his original audience, moments like this only push more people away. Fans are hard to come by for him these days, and insulting the few loyal ones he has felt like yet another misstep in a long list of public meltdowns. And when he realized that, what did he do? Well, he started crying like a baby. For instance, after being banned from Kick following his fight with an employee, Fousey took to posting cryptic and troubling videos. In one of them, he vented about his team, claiming they didn't respect him or appreciate him. He accused them of taking advantage of them, slamming doors in his face, and failing to remind him to take his mental health medication. At one point, he stormed off and led his team, declaring he was done with them and making ominous statements like, "Don't come to my funeral when I'm dead." This video alarmed many of his fans, as his words seemed to hint at a deep sense of despair. Later, Fousey posted another video, this time in tears, reflecting on the damage he's caused. He admitted to being under immense stress and feeling ashamed of his actions. He described how, in moments of adrenaline, he became Fousey, the chaotic persona his fans see, and how once the adrenaline faded, he returned to being Yusuf, filled with regret. Fousey's cycle of success, breakdowns, and regret has been playing out for years. Every time he seems to make a comeback, it ends in another meltdown. He gains traction, goes viral, and then crashes, pushing people away with his behavior before retreating from the spotlight, only to retreat the process all over again. For many, the cycle has become exhausting to watch. While mental health plays a significant role in Fousey's actions, his repeated decision to put himself in high-stress situations raises questions. Is it entirely his mental health to blame, or does Fousey himself bear responsibility for continuously placing himself in environments that trigger these outcomes? At this point, many believe it's time for Fousey to step away from content creation altogether. His repeated struggles in front of the camera suggest that being in the public eye isn't helping his mental health. While he's had an impressive run as a creator, perhaps the best course of action is to just step back, focus on himself, and explore opportunities behind the scenes. The more he pushes forward in front of the camera, the more his meltdowns seem to escalate, and it's clear that continuing down this path will only lead to more harm. Fousey's story had been one of incredible highs and devastating lows, but at some point, even the most resilient person has to recognize when it's time to walk away. Whether Fousey can break free from the cycle remains to be seen, but one thing is clear: something has to change. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Do you believe Fousey can turn things around, or is it time for him to hang up the jersey? Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, check out our previous upload on Fouseytube's Rise and Fall. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. See you in the next video. Until then, peace.